it's time for me to go. And so he did. And his attendant didn't ask him to stay. And if had he done that, he would have stayed longer. But no one did that, believe it or not. But now we're saying we want our teachers to stay. So, and that is for sure. We never want to be separated from our precious teachers. So that's why we pray for their long life, and that we're never away from them, from lifetime to lifetime. May we never be away from them. So we pray for their long life.
So is the idea, even when we are physically away from them, I know there's this idea that there's no coming and going of the guru.
No, that's true. And personally, I feel as close to Khepa Rinpoche, who is my Sawai Lama, my primary teacher and my retreat master and those kinds of things. I feel his presence as much now as ever. But, I don't get to see his face. I don't really get to ask him questions, but I still ask him questions, and I feel like he answers me in the various ways with certain synchronicity things that occur. Synchronistic things, but that presence is always there. And although neither he nor Khenchen Trongpa Rinpoche, who recently passed away, or Bardo Rinpoche, we ask that their Yangtze be swiftly reincarnated or reborn as well. So we also pray for that. The Yangtze is the next incarnation of our teacher. We call him Yangtze, or reborn again. And we pray for that to occur as well. Any question about that?
Thank you.
I'll be right back. I'm going to get my computer.
Oh, no problem.
This is the first time I've seen the inside of the temple.
Oh, that's Gainesville, KTC's beautiful,
That's beautiful.
shrine.
That's just a beautiful altar.
Yeah, that's their main
It's
shrine
simple and
with
small.
Buddha Shakyamuni. Extends out to the right and left. I think they also have a medicine Buddha shrine to the left, and some more.
It's almost like the curio cabinet.
Yes, yes, exactly. It's all behind glass, so it doesn't get dusty. We were admiring Gainesville KTC's shrine set up there, Lama Losang.
Yes, it's beautiful. I love it. My favorite space, favorite place on the planet. So any other questions, either previously or now, that you'd like to mention?
Lama, can you talk a little about Chotrul Duchen and the holiday, and what's, as Buddhists, what our mindset should be during these holy days?
Yeah, that's a good question. That is coming up. It is one of the four great observances for Buddhists. And in general, there are four sacred occasions spoken of in Buddhist texts, and they are special times of the year connected with the life and deeds of our teacher, Buddha Shakyamuni. And during these sacred occasions, sometimes called multiplying days, the karmic results, both virtuous and non-virtuous, are multiplied by 100 million times, it is said. So Buddhist scholars, cite the Vinaya text called the Treasury of Quotations and Logic as the source of these occasions commemorating the Bhagavan Buddha and their significance for practitioners. But the Chotuduchen, which is March 14th, that's in a few days. We celebrate that on the full moon, March 14th, and that from the time of the Losar until now, these 15 days are called the days of miracles, and it's translated as a day of miracles, occurs on the 15th day of the first lunar month, and that's March 14th this year. And at that time, the Buddha performed many miracles in Shravasti. In Tibet, the tradition of holding the great Munlam prayer festival was initiated by Je Rinpoche, or Tsongkhapa, and was celebrated from the first beginning day after Losar through the 15th lunar day, which again is March 14th. So the tradition gradually spread to other lineages and has continued to this day in India, Nepal, Tibet, and we celebrate it as well. So, and we could, there are lots of these 14, there's every day there was a particular miracle that was done, and which gave people confidence in the Buddha and his capacity. Sometimes it takes a miracle or two before people believe that the Buddha is special, but he did it not to show off, but to gain the respect and gain the confidence, of people. So, so taking vows during that period of time, like on Losar, we did a refuge ceremony and lay vows for people. And I think your group was with us, or some people were with us in the morning part of Losar.
For the
Yeah.
morning.
Yeah. That was good. How was that for you?
Oh, it was great. That was really a wonderful explanation on Losar, very in depth. Yeah, that was great. There were a few people that asked if that was being recorded because they'd like to watch it again.
Yeah, unfortunately, it was not. I don't think it was recorded. But
That's
we did the giving of the 5 vows, of for the lay person, and I think maybe we could talk about that a little bit. People often say, what are those 5 vows? Would you like to talk about that a little bit?
Yes.
Sure.
Yes. All right. If there's no other questions, I didn't particularly have anything planned, but now we're talking about Losar and the segue into these are auspicious times, and it still is, until the 14th. And you'll see on the Buddhist calendars, it's auspicious days for vow taking, whatever form that is. So, before delving in
vows.
into the specific, yeah.
What would a more beginner practitioner? What would you do as part of your own practice during these periods?
Whatever practice you do is going to be magnified. So it is more a matter of what the person's attracted to and what they've been trained to do. So if they've been coming to the center and they can do Chenrezi practice, or recite mantras, or circumambulate the stupas, or do acts of generosity by giving to centers or lamas, or to places that take care of animals, or showing generosity. That act is meritorious. So we want to increase our merit. We want to increase our giving. So that is one way to do it. But deepening one's practice during this period of time is considered very auspicious.
Thank you.
Anything else before I
Yeah,
delve in? Yeah.
7 planets were in alignment. Was it Saturday?
Yeah, they could be seen. Yeah, they were all lined up with the moon.
And so I feel like that's also auspicious in another.
Yeah, so it's we're gonna have a lunar eclipse as well. So that is also these eclipses, whether they're solar or lunar, are considered also auspicious times to do practice. That's also coming up. So the 5 vows for the layperson, and you can take them, one or all. Kempo Rinpoche always said to take all of them, of course. But when you take a vow, it's not really it's not a limitation. It is helping your practice and helping you avoid negative karma by, first of all, the first vow is abstaining from killing. So the first vow is the commitment to abstain from killing, and lay Buddhists pledge not to take the life of any sentient being intentionally. And this vow extends beyond humans to all living creatures, emphasizing the importance of compassion and nonviolence. So in the same way, during this period of time, just maybe not eating meat, that would be also because that means killing of sentient beings for that meat. So just being vegetarian would be helpful. That is another way that you can intentionally, be of benefit. So the first, abstaining from killing, and the second, abstaining from stealing. So let's see. Let's just see. And the second vow is a promise not to steal or take what is not does not belong to oneself. It promotes honesty and integrity and respect for others' property. And the vow goes hand in hand with the broader concept of ethical conduct in Buddhism. So when we say not taking a stealing or taking things that don't belong to you, that are not given to you, you can repent doing that and try to make amends for things that you may have done in the past around that. So again, generosity is a good thing to do. That's the opposite of taking what doesn't belong to you, you give. So giving and generosity, but certainly the second vow is to promise not to steal, take the vow. And the third vow is abstaining from lying. And the third vow involves refraining from lying or engaging in deceptive speech. Truthfulness is highly regarded in Tibetan Buddhism, and this vow encourages practitioners to cultivate honesty and transparency in their communication. And we sometimes talk about body language. So, not being gross in your body language, like giving somebody the bird that cuts you off in traffic, or rolling your eyes at someone in a way that says, I don't think much of what you said, or being crude in that way. So the idea, though, is abstaining from lying and deceptive speech.
So then, question. So then, would silent scorn be something that would fall into that? Do you know what silent scorn is?
Silent scorn?
Yes. Silent.
Yeah. So that's, everything comes from your mind. So if you're having negative thoughts, but it is usually having to do with speech, actually saying the words or acting the words in a certain kind of way. But truthfully, no pun intended, the idea is it starts in your mind, and from there, it can manifest in behavior. So watching your mind in that way to prevent that negative kind of feeling or um, attitude, that would come before we actually say the word, so that you can nip the lying or the refraining from the deceptive language or any kind of a language that is hurtful. You want to nip that in the bud before it leaves your lips.
Mhm.
All right, the third, we said the second was a promise not to steal, the third abstaining from lying, the fourth is abstaining from sexual misconduct. And there's a lot of misunderstanding about that one. So the fourth vow pertains to abstaining from engaging in sexual misconducts, and it emphasizes maintaining sexual ethics and integrity within relationships, promoting healthy and respectful connections with one another, which means not engaging in sex with someone who has a vow, such as a married person who has a vow to another person, or someone who is taking vows of chastity, like a nun or a monk, someone else who is not old enough to make a decision about having sex, or rape, or aggressive kinds of behavior like that. That is sexual misconduct. Any question about that idea or that vow? And the fifth, if not, was there a question?
No.
The fifth, okay, the fifth, abstaining from taking intoxicants. So the fifth vow is a commitment to abstain from taking intoxicants such as alcohol and drugs that cloud the mind, and that is why we don't do it. It hinders our clear judgment and leads to a variety of actions that can lead to negative karma. The vow supports mental clarity and mindfulness and self-awareness. So often you'll hear that it's okay, to have a drink, but the idea of alcohol, but the idea is not to lose your awareness. So one social drink or something like that may be fine, but it is a slippery slope. And most practitioners would say best not to engage in alcohol, period. But the idea is to abstain from anything that's going to cloud your mind, and you lose your awareness, or that can lead to actions that are unskillful. So yeah, let's see.
So Lama, can we? So there's the idea of formally taking these vows, and you can also take them informally.
Yeah, in front of a Buddha in your shrine, you could take them and commit yourself to it. But there is a formal thing that can be done with a teacher. But again, it is done with intention, and motivation. So you don't have to wait for them to be given necessarily. You could take them on your own. But when they're offered and you are inclined to do that, you would take them under the auspices of your teacher as well.
And how do these differ from sojourn vows?
Well, the Sojun vows include other things like not sleeping in high beds, or not wearing perfume or jewelry or those kinds of things. That is not part of this. But the Sojun vows they can be a little bit different. But these are the 5 lay vows, and there's other ones that can be laid on top of that. So these are really meant to offer a clear roadmap for individuals seeking to integrate their spiritual values into their daily lives. And these vows remind us of the profound interconnected connection between our actions and our spiritual journey. There is karma when we violate these laws. There is our unskillful actions particularly during this period of time, we're calling the days of miracles during these times. They are magnified 100 million times, just like our good actions are magnified 100 million times. And these vows are found in various Buddhist traditions. And they, they encourage our self-improvement and acknowledge, the human capacity for error. The key is improvement. We are not perfect, and we're going to violate the vows. I mean, inevitably, it will happen. I mean, we try not to have that happen, but the truth of the matter is, we may lie. We may take something that doesn't belong to us, but we repent that, we have remorse for it, and we vow not to do it again. And that is, it's a confession, and so in Sojong, there is a confession. We confess, those things, those violations, and we vow not to do them again. And Sojong vows are often, there's different Sojong vows, but the Sojong vows are done on full and new moons for all the monastics who do that.
So I know I've done them at the monastery during the long Amitabha practice.
Yep.
And is that because of when the practice is done, or because it's a new moon?
Right.
Okay.
Yeah.
So is that
new moon and full moon both?
New moon. Okay, so it's not necessarily tied to the specific practice, or the practice is done because of the new moon on that
No,
day.
we can violate our vows, and we do that to purify any violations. So Sojong vows are more than just for the lay vows. Monks and monastics do that. They have a lot more vows, hundreds of vows actually. And there are incidences where they are violated, and we confess them during that period of time. And we should do Sojong vows anytime we violate our vows. It can be done within 24 hours of that violation, and there are different levels of violation. But the idea to be mindful, that everything is about being mindful and aware of our conduct and our morality. They serve as ethical guidelines guiding daily actions and decisions. So, and there are ceremonies associated with taking these vows, as I said, and there are initiation ceremonies where you formally take the vow, and that's good. And I would suggest that you do that when you have the chance. And they contribute to our growth, our ethical living, self-awareness, and compassion, which are integral, to our spiritual path. So they serve a very important function in that way. Vows are sometimes seen as hindrances, but they are not. They are not confining at all. They really prepare you and help you on the path. So, yeah. So, after, there are bodhisattva vows that one takes after they've taken their the refuge vows. One usually takes the lay vows. Sometimes they're given together, refuge vows and lay vows, as we did during Losar. And then after one has perfected, or maybe not perfected, but have established, a daily practice, and have accomplished a certain level of commitment to the path, then one can take the bodhisattva vows, which I also encourage you to do. So there are many vows that you can take, including monk vows and those kinds of things. But anyone can take the refuge vow, the lay vows, the bodhisattva vows. So, so basically, those who take the bodhisattva vows are making a very simple commitment to put others first, holding nothing back, for themselves. We wish to benefit all sentient beings. So the bodhisattva vow is the commitment to put others before oneself, and to establish loving kindness and compassion. That's what Tonglen is for, to establish bodhicitta, the mind of enlightenment. And it is a statement of willingness, to give up one's own well-being, even one's own enlightenment for the sake of others. That's what they say. I won't be enlightened until all beings attain that state. And a bodhisattva is simply a person who lives in the spirit of that vow, perfecting the qualities known as the 6 paramitas, which you may be familiar with: generosity, discipline, patience, exertion, meditation, and wisdom, transcendental knowledge. He does that in his effort to liberate all sentient beings. So taking the bodhisattva vow implies that instead of holding our own individual territory and defending it tooth and nail, we become open to the world that we are living in. And it means we are willing to take on greater responsibility and immense responsibility. In fact, it means taking a chance, a chance that has been taken in the past by millions of bodhisattvas, enlightened ones, and great teachers. So a tradition of responsibility and openness has been handed down, from generation to generation. And now we too are participating in the sanity and dignity of this tradition. So we really take this opportunity, and so when I say chance, take this opportunity to do this. Any other questions or comments?
Well, about the Bodhisattva vow. Once you have the Bodhisattva vow and you have the motivation to benefit others ahead of your own well-being, what is there a reparation to that vow when you are, when you come, like in a marriage, inevitably you slip back into the, oh, I want this for me kind of mindset. What should a practitioner do that has the Bodhisattva vow, that when they see themselves slipping into selfishness? Or
if you're not thinking about the well-being of others first, you'd be violating your vow. So that means, if someone asks you for help in some way, and you can do that, if you can do it and you deny it, that would be a violation, actually, of your bodhisattva vow. So it is a big commitment. Taking the bodhisattva vow is a real commitment based on the realization of the suffering and confusion of both in oneself and others. And the only way to break the chain reaction of confusion and pain and to work our way upward into the awakened state of mind is to take responsibility ourselves. And if we do not deal with the situation of confusion, if we do not do something about it ourselves, nothing will ever happen. So we are committed to our own evolution for the twofold benefit of benefiting ourselves and others. I mean, we're still benefiting ourselves. In fact, we can't be a benefit to others until we have attained the highest level of realization that we can. So our work should be, our practice should be about attaining Buddhahood for the benefit of all beings. That's why we do it. And so it is our responsibility. We feel it's our responsibility. And we have the tremendous power to change the course of the world's karma. And we look at it like that. So in taking the Bodhisattva vow, we are acknowledging that we are not going to be instigators of further chaos and misery in the world, but we are going to be liberators. you know, Bob Thurman calls it the Messiah complex associated with bodhisattvas. But this is inspired work on ourselves as well as with other people. So there's a tremendous inspiration in having decided to work for others. We no longer try to build up our own grandiosity and specialness. You know, we simply try to become human beings who are generally able to help others. And that is, we develop precisely that quality of selflessness, which is generally lacking in the world, that we don't have to look far to see that, following the example of our teacher, Shakyamuni Buddha, who gave up his kingdom to dedicate his time to working with sentient beings. And we are finally becoming useful to society, you know, in that way.
Lama,
Yeah.
question. I'm sort of in the back of the room here, so I don't know if you can hear me.
I can hear you.
Good, good. Is there any conflict between the Bodhisattva vows and seeking rebirth in the Pure Land?
No, there isn't. I mean, again, once you attain Buddhahood, which you would do in the Pure Land much quicker, everything is geared to that situation. Then you are a real benefit, and then you can do all kinds of things. You can go to all kinds of places, all kinds of worlds and realms, and be of real benefit. When you become a bodhisattva and different levels, as you aspire to complete Buddhahood through practicing the six paramitas, as you traverse that path of the bodhisattvas, you have certain siddhis that occur, like being able to be in 100 places at the same time. And that's at the first bodhisattva level, you can be of much more value in that way, and you progress much more quickly in the pure realms. So your intention is the same, but you have much more capability of achieving Buddhahood in a pure realm, such as Dewa Chen or Sukhavati. That is the place that I would aspire to go to.
That's sort of what I thought, but I'm glad you said that because I've been a little concerned about that. So I think it makes perfect
No,
sense.
have the aspiration to be reborn in Amitabha's Pure Land. That is fine.
Okay. Thank you.
Yeah. It's a big vision, putting such a broad vision into practice requires that we relate to situations very clearly and perfectly. So in order to drop our self-centeredness, which limits our view and clouds our actions, it is necessary for us to develop a sense of compassion. So traditionally this is done by first developing compassion towards oneself. We're talking about Tonglen here, and when we do Tonglen, we start with ourselves, and then towards someone very close to us, and finally toward all sentient beings, including our enemies. And ultimately, we regard all sentient beings with as much emotional involvement as if they were our own mothers. That is the tradition to think of our mothers, which is pretty much all sentient beings. When we think of beginningless time, all sentient beings have been our mothers. And we may not require such a traditional approach at this point, but we can develop some sense of ongoing openness and gentleness. And the point is that somebody has to make the first move, and that we aspire to that being of benefit. We see this as a pure realm, already for those who have eyes to see it. We acknowledge the world around us is workable, and we can do this. We can become bodhisattvas, and ultimately have to be and begin to walk the path of the bodhisattva to ultimately attain a full Buddhahood, as the Buddha did. And we can do this. And the sentient beings can do this without grasping, without confusion, without aggression. This is our our this is our work. And we do it joyfully, that should be something that's taken on, as inspired action. Yeah, there's a lot that can be said about the Bodhisattva vow, but when you're ready to take it, um, do it. And yes, you may fail in it, but we are aspiring bodhisattvas. There is we have relative bodhicitta and ultimate bodhicitta. We are aspiring to be bodhisattvas. We're cultivating relative bodhicitta. And ultimately, when we understand the true emptiness of all things, and nothing, empty of the three spheres of self, other, and actions taken, that is when we really see the world as it is. And it requires that we persevere. That's we talk about the bodhisattva as a warrior. It requires much strength and courage to take that on. Yeah, we are inspired to put the teachings of Buddhism into practice in our everyday life. And in doing so, we are mature enough not to hold anything back, and our talents are not wasted in that way. It is a constant learning process, and that's part of our practice. And we're all different. So a bodhisattva can manifest, may teach Dharma in the form of intellectual understanding, artistic understanding, even business. You can be a bodhisattva in that. So in committing ourselves to the bodhisattva path, we are resuming our talents in an enlightened way, not being threatened or confused by them. We're using what we have in the most efficient and effective way to benefit others. That is the goal. And that can be done we're only limited by our own imagination. So we can benefit others. So whatever it is you do, if you can do it with the mind of bodhicitta, the mind of enlightenment, in the way you've taken bodhisattva vows, you do this for every sentient being, as you would thinking about your mother, and you wouldn't want your mother to suffer, or you use whatever. Some people, don't have a great relationship with their mother, yet you can use, any being that you love and don't want to suffer. But our mothers really gave us birth. They gave us life and fed us and took care of us, wiped our butts, and did everything that we needed to have done, because we were powerless as a human being up to a certain point, and we needed all the help that she gave us. So that's how we look at human beings, as our mothers, and have that kind of feeling of wanting to be of benefit to them as they were to us. Again, this does not mean that we are completely perfect in our whole situation, but there will still be some confusion taking place, of course, but at the same time, there is also a glimpse of this unlimited potentiality that we all have, our Buddha nature, and we want to bring that out, And we have to trust ourselves, to be able to do that and have the courage to act. But we can correct, any aggression, anger, or lack of compassion, anything anti-bodhisattva-like, as it happens. We can recognize our own neurosis and work with it rather than trying to cover it up or throw it out. We look at it, we see what it is, and we transmute it. So in this way, one's even our neurotic thought pattern, or can dissolve or transmute into an aspect of Dharma. And we have to do that. We're all pretty neurotic in a certain kind of way. So whenever we work with our neurosis in such a direct way, it becomes compassionate action. That is a compassionate action, both for ourselves and for all humanity. Does that make sense?
Yes,
Yes, it does.
it does. Of course it does.
Yes.
All right. Any question? Any other comments?
Would you mind discussing briefly, if you would, as best that you can, the karmic consequences of not fulfilling the bodhisattva vows? And I don't mean violating them, but not fulfilling them. There's probably some karmic consequences to that.
Yeah, like any vow you take it to be successful. In a marriage, you take a vow, and there are consequences, and you violate the vow. Generally, you'll suffer in one way or another. But it's the same thing with the bodhisattva vow. It's to create the consequences. There are causes and conditions that create suffering, and there are causes and conditions that create happiness for us. Our good deeds create happiness, and our wrong thinking creates suffering for us. So we wish um, to carry out our vows if we take them to the best of our ability, but we can still confess them. And unless we really do something outrageous, like kill another human being, then we can resolve not to do that again. We can regret it, have remorse for it, try to pacify whatever violation we made, and vow not to do it again. That's the same as any other violation we might do. So, we take the vow to be successful in keeping it, but inevitably, particularly for us, in the beginning, we have relative bodhicitta. We don't have the full absolute bodhicitta of a Buddha, and only the Buddhas really have absolute bodhicitta, but we do the best we can, and we strive to make it better, all the time. But we don't want to just neglect the vow if we take it, or disregard it. We try to live up to it to the best of our ability. There are consequences if you totally trash the vow and your teacher and all those kinds of things. That would be a serious violation, a breakage, and that would not end up well. There would definitely be a karmic consequence for that.
Thank you.
Is that similar to I can't remember specifically, but there's like 4 or 5 things of immediate consequence?
Yeah, yes. Well, that's killing a bodhisattva, or your parents, or drawing blood from a bodhisattva, or those are the 5 acts that immediately pretty much take you to the hell realms. So yeah, that would be a violation for sure. But it is said that even those things, just like Milarepa, he killed many people, when he was doing his black magic, and brought all that suffering onto his family members who dissed his mother and stole the resources of the family and did that. But he had great remorse, and Marpa really put him through a lot to neutralize that negative karma. But and he worked hard to realize the truth as well. So even it is possible to undo those kinds of things as well. So karma does have, it's not written in stone. There are ways that we can minimize the karmic consequences, but we have to be aware of what we're doing, and we have to have the proper antidote for those things. But yes, you can attain the higher levels of a bodhisattva even after creating lots of unskillful actions. But I wouldn't do that and think that you're going to undo it. Just be skillful in creating positive actions for yourself, and the white karma that goes with it. The-
Hopefully, none of us are planning on destroying our home cities or relatives.
No, hopefully not. Don't anticipate that any of you will do that. But there's the prayer, the Mahayana prayer that beings are numberless. I vow to save them. Desires are inexhaustible. I vow to end them. Dharma gates are boundless. I vow to enter them. Buddha way is unsurpassable. I vow to become it. So that's kind of I think a Zen quote. Um, so from the Mahayana school. So that is it. There's lots of ways, lots of things that we do for the point of benefiting beings, but we start with having the right view. So we strive to continually do our practice with intention and motivation to benefit beings. I just looked at a prayer from Shantideva's. He has a number of beautiful prayers that are also our Bodhisattva vows. And he says, may I be a protector to those without protection, a leader for those who journey, and a boat, a bridge, a passage for those desiring the further shore. May the pain of every living creature be completely cleared away. May I be the doctor and the medicine, and may I be the nurse for all sick beings in the world until everyone is healed. So that's a clear explanation of the Bodhisattva path that Shantideva said. So always, continue your reading, continue your study, continue your practice. Particularly, we do require merit, to proceed along the path in an effective way. And if we trust the Buddha and we trust the teachings, then we want to use this time of practice to make the most of it. We wish to make the most of it. See if there's anything else. Any other questions, again, or comments, or anything about your practice that you'd like to ask about that you're doing? Hopefully you do have a practice and you're on a regular basis doing your sitting practice. We start with shamatha to train our mind. Again, I often use the analogy of training a puppy. A puppy needs training both to protect himself and so he doesn't get hurt. And so in the same way, the Buddha gave us certain practices to do so we don't hurt ourselves. So when you train the puppy to sit, it takes a while, to make that work. And a lot of times, you start, you say sit, and the puppy is distracted by the first thought that comes, or the first thing that he sees or she sees. And but over time, we can make that stable. And when the puppy hears the word sit, it knows what that means, and it will do it for extended periods of time. It can stay in one place until released from that sit. In the same way, shamatha is training the mind to stay. When we say stay, it stays. And we're capable of deepening our samadhi once we have the mind that's workable. And that's what shamatha does. That shamatha is not the end all and be all. It is a process on the path. And then we understand vipassana, which is part of our mind training for clear insight. And as we progress along the path, we have a stability of mind. We can rest for longer and longer periods in our samadhi and deepen our meditation. And when the thoughts come up, we see them for what they are, empty of any essential quality. They're like clouds in the sky. They have their moment and just dissolve back into emptiness. We don't follow them. So that is, there's a progression, for training the mind. And Lojong is also one of those things that is mind training. And that is also a complete path. KTD is going to be starting its next series of teachings on Lojong. So if you haven't been doing those, we're finishing up the shamatha part of it now, and we will be going into the Lojong teachings, which are really wonderful. So if you haven't seen or heard the teachings at KTD, you can look it up, and you can revisit those teachings on shamatha, and they are still ongoing. I think there's a couple more left, but I direct you to that. So good, just going to kagyu.org, and you can join that. It's free. It doesn't cost anything. You can join. Yeah. Yes. Is there a question?
I do have a question if I could.
Yeah.
Currently, I don't have any sort of a daily practice.
Yeah.
Is there a sadhana or something, a sadhana that you would recommend to kind of start building back in? I've been a little bit out of touch since moving to North Carolina, and there's not really a temple or anything around to participate in.
Where are you in North Carolina?
Hayesville, North Carolina, about 2 hours north of Atlanta.
Hmm. Yes, so, but there is, like I was saying, these teachings from KTD, our mother monastery in Woodstock, New York, and you can participate in those teachings that are often Zoom teachings as well. But if you're looking for a sadhana, what's recommended, the sadhana is usually Chenrezig, the Bodhisattva of loving kindness and compassion. And there are videos, and if you go to KTD, thekagyu.org, they do ongoing sadhana practices that are televised, and you can participate in to get a feel for it, and even follow along, and you can get the text to do that. But you can just do shamatha practice, and you can do Tonglen, exchange of self for others. You can do the four thoughts that turn the mind to Dharma, the four immeasurables. There are many different things that help us along the way and create the proper view for us. So I would, it's really nice to have a center, but you can join the Jacksonville KTC when they do trainings, or Gainesville KTC as well. On Sundays, we do Chenrezig, we do Amitabha and Guru Rinpoche from 12 to about 12:30. And so you can join us online. And the same thing with Jacksonville PTC.
I'll definitely be joining more often.
Yes, and so I definitely recommend you do. And that's a way, although you may not have a Sangha near you, you're as close as your computer. You know, you can join us. And also the teachings that go along with it. You know, I teach on a regular basis at our KTC pretty much every Sunday. And you can definitely be a part of our Sangha. And there's teachers who come and we will broadcast those teachings on Zoom as well. So if you just keep in touch, we can do that.
Thank you.
Yes. All right, it is 8:30. So should we dedicate the merit?
Yes, thank you, Lama.
Thank you.
I have one announcement before we finish up. We did select a date for our rummage sale. It's going to be April 5th and 6th, the Saturday and Sunday. The 4th, we'll be doing some cleanup for the rummage sale preparation. So people are welcome to bring items in to start donating, as well as to volunteer. We'll need volunteers on both days on the 5th and 6th of April.
Doctorate. Doctorate.
8:30 to 2:30.
What's on my mind?
Well, yeah, we'll fix that. We'll fix. Yes, we'll adjust the times and dates.
Thank you for your words today, Lama.
Thank you. You're welcome. Thanks for being here. Sorry I was a little late, but we usually do this on the second Tuesday of the month. So we will hopefully do this and I'll be on time next month. So the other thing that we do is we dedicate the merit of our practice for the benefit of all sentient beings. And I'll do this in the English. By this merit, may all attain omniscience. May it defeat the enemy wrongdoing. May it lead all beings from the stormy waves of birth, old age, sickness, and death. From the ocean of samsara, may I free all beings. The courageous Manjushri knows everything as it is. Samantabhadra, who also knows in the same way, and all the Bodhisattvas that I may follow in their path. I completely dedicate all this virtue. Karmapo is the activity of all the Buddhas, glorious over the four maras. May his teachings, this heart of the Dharma, continually spread to the far limit of all directions, greatly increase and auspiciously ever flourish. Thank you, everyone.
Thank you, Lama La.
Thank you, Lama Losang.
Thank you.
Good night.
We'll see you next Tuesday.
See you next Tuesday.
Thank you.